Welcome to Civilian Jeeps. I'm Jake, and today we are at the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee at the LeConte Center. Now, this invasion brings in over 20,000 Jeeps and around 50,000 people, so this is deemed the world's largest Jeep event, and if you've seen the amount of Jeeps at this event, you'll probably agree. Now, out of all the Jeeps that I personally seen, I made a video out of the top 5. Now, I have 2 honorable mentions like what you're seeing right here, but there's just too many Jeeps to really see all of them. So, I mean, if you have a cool Jeep and you're not on this list, don't feel bad. Probably didn't get to see it. Now, what you're currently viewing is a Grand Cherokee by Bleepin' Jeep. Bleepin' Jeep is local to this area. They're in Anderson County around the Windrock area, and they build some really cool stuff from Comanches to the Grand Cherokee like you're seeing here. They went to the Onyx Off-Road Challenge and built an S10, just all around some really cool stuff. But this Grand Cherokee though has anti-rock rear suspension, coilovers, 40-inch Patagonias, rock sliders, looks like a triangulated 3-link in the rear with long arms. I mean, this thing is built for the rocks and built to handle it. It's got beadlocks on it. It looks like a Badlands Apex Series winch, which is surprisingly a pretty good winch. Corbeau seats, or however, I think it's Corbeau. It's got a twin stick over there. Maybe that's a Dana 300. I didn't get to see under it. It's got KC Pro Gravity light bar. All around, just a really cool rig. Now, this next honorable mention is honestly one that could have made it into the top 5, but the top 5 is just really tight, so I chose to put this one as an honorable mention. But as you just seen, that is a 6.6 liter iron block. It's about 550 horsepower. That's more of like a Jeep engine. It's pretty common with the Wrangler swaps. Now, it's running an 8-speed HP8 transmission, and automatic transmission. As you'll see in the interior, they made like a custom shift lever, which is really cool. But just take a look at the interior real quick. The two-tone accents of the leather seats, the dash pad, I mean, all of it just flows so well with each other. You can see the air conditioner down at the bottom, the retro Bluetooth probably radio that they got going on there. I mean, that thing is just immaculate inside. It's got the KC daylighters mounted to the Chuck Norris style roll bar, as I call them. Now, if you want an older Jeep that, you know, is just going to grab people's attention and say, hey, I've got taste, then this would be it. Now, but if you're also wanting modern reliability, this would also be it as well. I mean, this Jeep is a complete package. I mean, look how clean that is underneath. I would hate to know how much this Jeep costs to build, and I'd also hate to know how much, if they ever sold it, this Jeep would go for. This is honestly a collectible that's a resto mod, and it's extremely nice. And you can see another shot of the air conditioner there. Check out those gauges though. Those gauges still look like the factory cluster of the J10, but you can tell that those are the modern gauges that's been retrofitted behind the cluster. I mean, this Jeep, there's no words when it comes to this Jeep because of how nice it is. I mean, look at the paint on this thing. You can see myself in the paint. It is so nice. Got the Levi's sticker down there on the quarter panel. All around, just immaculate J10. Coming in at number 5 on this list is a Jeep by Wheats Off-Road. I believe it's a JLU is what it started out as, but it's far from that now. It's on what I believe are 42-inch, could be 43-inch Super Swamper TSLXs, and it's on KMC beadlock wheels. I mean, this thing is just massive. It's more crawler than it really is Jeep anymore. As you can see, it's got a Warren Xeon winch mounted to the front of it. A nice fair lead there. As you can see, the crane, I believe those are 14 bolts. I mean, that is some major beef. Look at the size of that truss and the PSC hydro steering that's on it. And, you know, it's riding on Radflow coilovers. And I'd say this thing rides like a dream. I'm not sure what exactly it is engine-wise. I'm sure it's probably some LS swap, maybe like a 6.2 or something to that effect. I'm not entirely sure though, but you can see just the amount of custom tubular work that has went into this thing. It all looks to be mated together and all really rigid and stout. It's got PRP limiting straps. Looks like a 4-link in the front. As you can see, it's got the skid plate full armor that the links mount to. Check out that cross member though, if you didn't see that. The cross member is just beautifully done under there where it links it all together. Another shot of the Radflow coilovers there as well. And you can see the body is just really nice on this thing. I wonder how much it actually gets used. I feel like it gets used. Why would you build something this nice and not use it though? But the body is just extremely straight. Some rigid lights mounted there on the back for reverse light setup, as well as LED lights on the back. If you happen to notice, there was a rigid, or not a rigid, a ARB fridge freezer combo in the rear, which I think is really cool. Another shot of the crane 14 bolt rear there. It also has a truss. I mean, a lot of money's been put in this Jeep. And the gas tank skid, I mean, you could literally beat the underside of this thing up and it will take a beating. It's got PRP seats in it. One thing I do think is really cool is this roof, though. It's like a bikini top style, but it's all metal, I guess, hard mounted roof that's been custom made. You got a couple screens there, one for the gauges, one for your radio, multiple S pods in the dash, a nice looking shifter for your automatic transmission. Overall, I mean, this Jeep, I'd hate to know how much it cost, because I don't even think my house is worth as much as what they probably paid to build this Jeep. But it's extremely nice, and I think it deserves a spot at number 5 on my list of the top 5. Coming in at number 4 on my list is this USPS inspired LJ. Now, I don't believe an LJ came in a right-hand drive model. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong below, but I believe this was a right-hand drive TJ that somebody has stretched into an LJ length by using the back half of an LJ tub and stretching the frame. Now, a little bit about this Jeep. It's on coilovers. It's, I think, a 5.5-inch lift. It's a Dana 60, I believe, front with a truss. It's long arm, 14 bolt rear, Mickey Thompson Baja stickies, Dirty Life Meza bead locks, anti-rock sway bars, PRP limiting straps. As you can see, it's got the PRP steering wheel, right-hand drive, of course, with an S-Pod system mounted there. Oh, another cool thing is the roof. It's got the emblem for the USPS mounted into what looks like a spider web shade, and the back half is extremely clean. Just everything about this Jeep is clean and tastefully done. You can see that 14 bolt there with the triangulated 3-link rear. I'm sure this thing flexes like crazy. It's got a power tank in the back, looks like some type of fridge freezer combo. Keep your drinks cold. I'm seeing a lot of that at Jeep Invasion. Nice sliders that are tastefully done. You can see another view of the interior with the PRP seats, and it still does look almost stock-like on the dash for the TJ, which I think is really neat that they were able to keep that with a right-hand drive vehicle. Coming in at number 3 on this list would be this FC170. The FC stands for forward control because the cab actually sits over the front tires of this Jeep. Now, I believe this one is a 1959 model. I'm pretty sure they were produced from the late 50s even into the early 60s. They had the FC 100, 150, 170. I believe the higher the number, the heavier of duty that the forward control truck was rated for. Now, I've never seen a tow truck FC 170 or any forward control in a tow truck form. That's why I thought this one was really cool and something that deserved to be on this list. That and just probably the history that's been behind this thing. I'd have liked to have seen, you know, the vehicles that this thing has towed. I mean, this thing goes all the way back to 1959, and here we are in 2023. So I'd say, you know, if you were a fly on the wall sort of thing, that it's seen a lot over the years. But this thing is just immaculate. I mean, it's super clean. It's done really well. It's got the PTO driven winch on the front and on the rear that's wrapped around the boom for the actual control to lift the vehicle up. So I think that's just really neat how they've done this thing, and I've never seen it before. Out of all the Jeep shows that I've went to, I thought it was crazy that I'd not seen this, and I was like, this definitely needs to be in the top 5 for the Jeep list on this video. Coming in at number 2, and the runner-up of this video would be this just bad to the bone LJ. I mean, this thing is probably the most built LJ that I've come across. It's got, I believe, 43-inch stickies. It's got the same crane 14 bolt as that Wheats Off-Road one earlier on in the video. It's got hydro steering, RCV axle shafts, Radflow coilovers, Highline hood on this. It's got PRP seats in it. It's got a digital display for your gauges, a Lowrance off-road GPS in the center there, rugged radios. It's got a twin stick for your transfer case. I'm not really sure what that light bar is mounted over there where the fuel tank's at. You'll see another shot of it here in a minute. Looks like it's a build by Wide Open Designs. I've not heard of them. See, that right there, like, I'm not entirely sure what the light bar is for, but I mean, it looks cool, I guess. But you can see the Crane 14 bolt with the truss. It's triangulated 3-link again, so it flexes really well, I would say. It's got cool reverse lights, and I mean, everything. You can see just the amount of stretch on this thing is crazy. It's got raceline bead locks, anti-rock sway bars. Going back in there, you can see some of the custom cage work that's been put into this thing. Oh, also the roof that you're about to see is another one of those like hard, I don't know if it's plastic or metal, bikini top style design, but it's still a hard style roof, and I like those a lot. I think it's different, and it's something that I'm seeing a lot more of the built Jeeps do. So anyway, this is the runner up, and it'd be kind of hard to beat this, but I think this next Jeep will. And coming in at number 1 on this list is a Jeep that I feel like just stole Jeep Invasion for me. I mean, this thing is immaculate. At first glance, you're like, oh, well, this is just a J10 with a paint job and some bronze wheels on it. But it goes much more than that. Under the hood has a 6.2 LS, I believe it's the L94. The transmission is the NV4500. Mated behind that is the transfer case, which is the Atlas, I believe it's the 5.0, and this thing is just straight beef. I mean, all around. It's got an East Coast Gear Supply 60. The high cut there, as you can see, for clearance, that's front and rear. I believe the rear is, well, the front and rear of this thing is linked. It's not on leaf springs anymore. Looking in on the interior, though, is this amazing color combo. It's got the saddle brown interior with brown and blue headliner, and it just meshes so well. Now, if you want to see more of this Jeep, the guy's Instagram name is a YJ My Way, and I actually talked to him, and he plans on using this thing as his crawler hauler, and it should have plenty of power to do that. And he's looking at towing, maybe 8,000 or 9,000 pounds with it, which it should easily do with the modifications that's been done to it. And this thing is the ultimate crawler hauler in my book. Still keeps that old school Jeep vibe, and will get tons of attention, but I mean, has the modern conveniences of being able to tow that you would want in a truck of today's standards. Now, looking at the dash, you can see he's got a S-Pod mounted in the dash, which is really cool. Nice, sleek looking design. He's got an upgraded radio that still keeps that factory look to it, though, but you can tell it's more like a Bluetooth style radio. But everything about this Jeep I just absolutely love. I would trade all 4 of my Jeeps just to own this one right here. That's how much I like this thing. But anyway, that's all I have for this video, and if you agree or disagree with my top choices, let me know below, and when it comes to Jeeps, keep it classic.